What's going on YouTube? So the Acura MDX has been a very popular product for decades now. And Acura just recently redesigned this model with a lot of new features and technology last year for its refresh. But now we're standing next to the just released 2026 model. And we want to know, is there anything new for 2026? And is this the midsize luxury SUV for you? Well, let's go ahead and find out. So let's get things started here with our spec dump. For 2026, you'll continue to have a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine with 290 horsepower on all models except for the Type S. This is paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission. With the available super handling all-wheel drive system, we get 21 mpg combined.
Now the base price for the MDX this year is $51,800, and if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, we can't wait to take this out for a spin and show you what that's like. While we're on that spin, we'll see how quiet this MDX Advance is, and then after that, we'll discuss resale and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood so we can get into any exterior as well as interior updates. So as far as the exterior design is concerned, like we just mentioned, this model was refreshed for the 2025 model year. And with that, they did redesign the face of this just a little bit. So you'll notice on today's model, this is the Advance trim level. This is going to have the latest version of the Diamond Pentagon grille. We also have the chrome trim, but if you choose one of the sport trims, such as the A-spec or the Type S, it'll give you the full frameless Diamond Pentagon grille. Very prominent Acura logo right up there in the center. And then as far as our lights are concerned, we've got the latest version of the Jewel Eye LED headlights. This will be standard across every single trim of the MDX. You also have your turn signal and daytime running light right through there. One thing I want to point out is fog lights. This is pretty rare now in the segment of vehicle, and this is included on all but your technology and the base trim. And moving on to the wheels, you have a lot of different choices from 19 inches to 21-inch alloys depending on the trim level. Again, this is the advanced trim level, so this is the design you get. It's a 20-inch contrast alloy with the gray accents on board. Now, speaking of gray and color, let's talk a little bit about two new colors you get for 2026. You now have Solar Silver and Double Apex Pearl. So specifically the Apex Pearl Blue, you've probably seen that in the 2025 videos that we did. This is going to be a new version of that, which is just a little bit lighter. Now, here's one critical thing, though, about the advanced trim I want to point out before I stand up here, and that's the fact that this is the only version of the MDX that gets the body color wheel arches as well as the lower molding. So it kind of gives it a little bit more of a premium look than the other trims, if you ask me. Now, as far as the mirrors are concerned, heating and blind spot monitoring are standard features. The Tech trim adds in power folding, and then auto dimming is added in at the advanced trim and above.
Now at the side of the MDX, our overall vehicle length is about 198.4 inches, which is a good size for this segment. And as far as design touches, the Advance is kind of your most luxurious trim level. So you're going to have the chrome window surrounds as well as the chrome roof rail up here at the top. Now, as we move around to the rear design of this MDX, like Drew said, it did just get a refresh. So they tweaked some of the elements last year, and for 2026, that's all going to carry over. So you're going to have your signature Acura MDX design, which I think looks very classy and elegant. Now, as far as some of the design touches, we have a spoiler up top. We also have a wiper integrated right here. Some Acura branding right front and center. And then as far as your taillights are concerned, I really like the look of these taillights. They have a very similar shape to the headlights. They're going to be fully LED, including your amber turn signal indicator and your LED reverse light. It does have a darkened finish ever since the refresh last year. And then dropping down to the lower fascia, I really love what the Advance does here. It gives you all body color all the way down to the bottom. It looks very premium. You keep the exposed exhaust outlets as well. And as far as your tow rating is concerned, for front-wheel drive models, it comes in at 3,500 pounds. All-wheel drive comes in at 5,000 pounds. And let's talk about your safety system. So Acura has always been good about including all of those as standard. That will continue for the 2026 model year. All of your active safety features, including adaptive cruise control with traffic jam assist, are standard equipment. Now, the only thing I'll add to that is that the Type S has more advanced systems such as the auto lane change. But guys, that wraps up the exterior of this MDX. There's a very luxurious cabin and a couple tweaks for 2026. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
And if you want to know about all the latest and greatest rides, then make sure to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the newest cars. All right, now let's move on to the inside. First, as always though, we'll take a quick look at the key fob. Typical latest and greatest Acura key fob. You have a standard smart entry system on all models. Remote start is built into the fob for Advance and Type S trims. Getting inside, grab behind the handle. That will also fold out the mirrors and unlock the door, of course. And then let's check out the interior of this model. So obviously, I'm just going to start off with the seats kind of first and foremost. All the models, except for the very base trim, come with real Milano leather to some degree. Now your sport models are going to add in some Alcantara suede inserts into there, or the Advance is going to be a full stitched and perforated design here. Really nice look to it no matter what. As you can see, we've got the brown interior option, and then down below you have 16 ways of adjustment starting at the Advanced trim, so that even gives you a power bolster adjustment. And most importantly to a lot of you guys is the fact that massage is now on the Advanced trim and above, so that kind of makes that more accessible than it used to be before the refreshed model. Now, for 2026, though, specifically, I want to talk about what they've kind of done to change the exterior and interior color combinations that you can make. So for the Advanced trim level, if you get the black exterior, you can no longer get the parchment interior. On the Technology, you can no longer get a red exterior, and you also can no longer get a white exterior with a brown interior. The Type S model, if you're going for that, the Solar Silver can only be had with the blue interior. There's no more black option. And that's just kind of a few different things to just point out there. I'm sure those probably weren't popular combinations, which is why they were eliminated. But if you're in the market, and you really want one of those combinations that's being eliminated, head out to your dealership and get the 2025 before this 2026 gets fully out. Nevertheless, kind of returning back here, let's take a look there. As you can see, you've got memory seats on the vast majority of models as well. And let's go ahead and climb on inside so we can get into all the nitty-gritty details. And now that we're fully inside, let's assess the rest of the materials inside the cabin here. As you can see, we have the brown leatherette material all across the door trim, soft touch plastic along the top, and then you'll notice a lot of the open pore wood that's going to be on the door trim as well as through the entire dashboard. Very nice feel to this. It's obviously a real wood and it is very high quality and nice to look at. You have leatherette across the upper dashboard, bit of piano black through the center, and then more leatherette that's going to kind of come through here. Not padded on this part, but it is padded on this part, and everything feels very nice and high quality. And let's fire it up with the standard push button start. And now that she's all fired up, let's take a look at the gauge cluster. First of all, we've got the 12.3-inch full digital cluster. That's standard on all MDXs. You can reconfigure many details of this display, including getting a nice Google Maps display over there on the side. Now, in addition to that, you're going to find a very large and detailed head-up display if you get the Advanced trim or above. As you can see right now, I've got the big old menu up there, but you can, once again, add a lot of different kinds of information up there in the HUD. You also have rain sensing wipers. As far as the steering wheel, a nice leather wrap steering wheel, which surprisingly has standard power tilt and telescoping on every single model in the lineup. Although if you want heating, you will have to get the Advanced model. Now, let's turn over here to our storage and take a look at the center console first of all. So this, by the way, does open up in two different parts. You have a tiny little part there where you can stick kind of your smaller valuables, and then this is the main part, and inside we have donuts inside. That's because we test the volume here at Car Confections with stuffed donuts. And today we have 10 donuts inside, which is pretty good for a vehicle in this class, but just shy of passing the donut test to fit a dozen. Now in front of that you have your 2 cup holders, little storage cubby right there, and then one of the things that Acura revised last year was giving you this very large wireless phone charging pad, which is standard on all models. Now another thing that Acura did, which is pretty impressive, is really kind of hunker down and emphasize the audio experience in the MDX. So they went ahead and switched their previous ELS sound systems for Bang & Olufsen sound systems. And if you get anything except the bass trim, you still get a Bang & Olufsen sound system with 17 speakers. So let's go ahead and give that version a sample. Yeah, so we've said this in the past, this is an excellent sounding sound system. It really is fantastic, and again, having this on all but the bass trim is super impressive. I love the beautiful metal speaker grills over there on the door trim as well. And furthermore, you can even add some additional speakers, go up to 31 speakers with the Bang & Olufsen sound system if you get the Type S trim. So a lot of good audio experiences in this SUV. Now, in front of that, you're going to find your push-button shifter. Nothing too complicated here, just press the D for drive. You have paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Pull the trigger for reverse. When you go into reverse, advanced trims and above will give you this 360-degree camera system with the overhead view. Press the P for park, of course. You have brake hold, as well as an electronic parking brake. By the way, underneath that is where you find a couple of USB connections. Now in the center section, you'll continue to find a large dynamic drive mode controller, and you also have your climate controls, which are standard 3-zone automatic. As you can see, adjustment super nice and simple because you do have the physical controls for everything, including your physical controls for your heated and ventilated seats. They do have an automated mode as well. And by the way, if you want seat ventilation, you get the a-spec trim or above. Now, moving on up here, one of the biggest improvements Acura made last year was certainly with the display. So this continues on for 2026 model year. It's a 12.3-inch display. It is a touchscreen now, and it's much closer to the driver, so you can just quickly reach up here and go through the system. The other big thing that they changed with the system itself is the fact that now it has Google Apps built in. So we have, Google Maps, built natively into the system, as well as Google Assistant, and the ability to add different types of Android applications with the Play Store. And by the way, that connectivity is included free for the first 3 years. Even when it expires, you do still have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Up top, you've got an auto-dimming mirror, HomeLink Universal Remote built into it. That's standard equipment. And also standard across the MDX lineup is our large panoramic sunroof. We have a power sunshade on board, and the front panel opens up.
And let's talk about the rear seat of the MDX. Now for 2026, nothing's really going to change back here. It's your same old MDX, which is certainly a good thing. As far as the legroom and headroom figures are concerned, 38.5 inches of legroom and about 38 inches of headroom. Those are pretty similar to some of the rivals. It's going to be a little bit smaller, though, than something like a Lexus TX, for instance. And now that I've got my ruler, of course, we bring the official Car Confections ruler along. That's because this seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8". I'm 5'9" for reference, and this gives you a realistic knee room figure. We're sitting at about 8 inches of knee room. That's quite good. Now my feet can barely slide up underneath of the seat. The seat is kind of flush with the floor, so keep that in mind. And these seats back here do slide forward and back a good distance, and they also recline a pretty good distance as well. So I think you're going to be quite comfortable back here. Now, you may notice that we don't have captain's chairs, and that's because Acura does something special with this middle seat. It's called the multi-function middle seat. So you can pull that little strap there. That's going to allow you to fold it down, almost have like a executive rear seat experience. You have 2 cup holders right there, a little storage. You can actually fully remove this seat as well. So it has a little toggle down here. So if you prefer to have the aisle into the third row, you can actually fully remove this, and that's standard on every single MDX. Now, as far as the other features are concerned on this model, you'll find most of those right here. We have our own climate zone. Additionally, if you choose the Advance or above, you'll get the heated back seats. No seat ventilation is offered. 2 vents down below that. We have a 12-volt outlet, 2 USB-C ports, and this is actually not anything right here. I do believe maybe on some of the other versions, though, you do get a household outlet there. And as far as other features that you will find on the MDX, Tech and above will give you the rear window sunshades, so that's a nice added benefit. And as far as the door trim, really nicely done. Lots of the open pore wood, lots of the leatherette material as well. And then door storage is quite impressive as well for this SUV. You can easily swallow up a bottle like this. And let's go ahead and check out the third row. So in order to get back here, they've made it really easy. You just press that button right there. That's going to kind of tilt the seat out of the way and allow it to slide up and out of position. And let's go ahead and check out the third row itself. Now, the third row of the MDX is certainly not this vehicle's highlight. And the reason I say that is because it only has about 29 inches of legroom and about 36 inches of headroom. That does mean, like I said, I'm 5'9", so my head is definitely scraping the ceiling, and if I lean back, it's really kind of cramped. And with the seat slid all the way back in position, which it is, you can slide it forward a little bit more if you want more room, but I'm not going to have any additional knee room at all. It's certainly a lot smaller than something like an Lexus TX, for instance. Now, my feet can slide up underneath of the seat, and the thigh support it's okay. It's not fantastic, though. Now, as far as the seats, we have 2 of them back here, so that means overall seating capacity for this model is 7 passenger. And then as far as features, we have a cup holder on both sides. We also have a USB port on both sides. It's a USB A port. No vents, though, so that's continually something that I've complained about in the Acura MDX, is that you do not have rear air vents, so you're going to be either hot or cold back here in the third row. And because of that, as far as how it rates on the third row, I'm going to say this is fit for the in-laws. Now, walking up to the tailgate, of course, we do have a hands-free power one. And as far as the cargo space is concerned, let's discuss that, because I'm sure you're very curious. Now, behind the third row of seats, you are going to find about 16 cubic feet of space, 39 cubic feet with those folded down, and as a maximum 71.4 cubic feet. Now, if you're curious as to how that compares against the rivals and how this MDX compares against its rivals in other categories as well, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now, the reason you do that is because we've gone through all of the 3-row mid-sized luxury SUVs that this competes with. There are a lot of options, and we've ranked them in individual categories that matter to you as this type of buyer. So that will be cargo capacity, interior technology, luxury, resale reliability, powertrain choices. All of those things are detailed for you on our website. So if you want to make an informed buying decision, we encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. But spoiler alert, that certainly is not going to be the biggest option in the segment. The Lexus TX is quite a bit bigger when it comes to cargo capacity. Now, as far as features are concerned, the third row is just going to be a manual folding setup. So some of the rivals do include a power folding third row. That's not offered on this model. However, it's really easy to fold the third row, as you just saw. Folding the second row, though, I do not have any buttons to do that, so I will have to go up there and do it manually. And now that I got all those seats folded down, let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures. This is a Car Confections review after all, so you might be curious if you could fit a specific object in. As far as overall cargo length behind Drew's 5'8" driving position, we are sitting at 85 inches of length. From behind the second row of seats, with them slid all the way back, about 48 inches of length. Behind the third row of seats, yeah, I'm going to make sure I got it right. Okay, about 19 inches of length. Overall opening is 46 inches wide, and overall height comes in a little on the shorter side, about 29 inches of height. Underneath of the floor, though, there is quite a bit of additional space, so if you're, really needing to fit something in a cramp, that certainly will do that. And then as far as over here on the left side, we have a 12-volt outlet, as well as this button right here. This is included on advanced trims and above. If you press that, it will just go ahead and automatically close as you leave the vehicle. It's handy for things like groceries. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2026 Acura MDX. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. We will also be getting things like our sound level reading, but first we need to start with a hard acceleration.
All right, that's acceleration up to about 60 miles an hour with this MDX. Now, like we mentioned, this is the advanced trim, and the advanced trim, like all the rest of the trims except for the Type S, comes with the 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 engine. Still makes 290 horsepower and 267 pound-feet of torque. Of course, that in itself is kind of a big deal in this segment, because increasingly so, the rivals have been switching to turbo 4 cylinders as their standard engine option, but this keeps the conventional V6, which has some advantages, especially when we're talking about that just overall refined nature. So like as I accelerate here, you can just kind of hear it just has that nice clean growl to it. It's refined, it's smooth, doesn't make too much noise.
Yeah, certainly compared to like a Lexus TX 350 with the standard gas powertrain, this is going to be a lot more smooth and feel more luxurious, which I'm a huge fan of.
Now, the other element of the powertrain is the 10-speed automatic transmission. This is Honda and Acura's in-house developed transmission, and we've always been a big fan of this transmission. It's nice and smooth. Obviously, you have lots of gears, but it doesn't seem confused or anything. So if you put your foot down, even when we're in the standard drive mode like we are now, not a big delay in terms of being able to downshift multiple gears. It gets more aggressive when you go into the sport mode.
Yep. Now, as far as how power is routed to the ground, the vast majority of MDXs will have SH all-wheel drive. You can get front-wheel drive, though, on your more basic trim levels if you want to save a little bit of money. And as far as fuel economy is concerned, we do have those figures for 2026. So we're sitting at 19, 26, 22 for front-wheel drive. If you choose SH all-wheel drive, that goes down 1 to 21 mpg combined. And then if you choose the Type S variant, that is further reduced down to 19 miles per gallon combined.
So that was the sport mode there to show you what she's got.
Yeah, really nice, and I love the sound. Now we're going to switch it back into normal mode so we can get our sound level reading. Speaking of that, and we have it on fan speed 1, so let's see how quiet it is. 54.6 is what we settled in at. I gave it a little bit extra time because, unfortunately, Mother Nature decided to rain a little bit, get the roads a little bit wetter than our normal test. However, that sound level reading definitely goes to show you that Acura has really spent a lot of effort and attention to make this a quiet place to spend time. We don't have to guess how it compares to the rivals because we can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. And indeed, year after year, the MDX is one of the very quietest vehicles in the segment. That's not going to change for this model year, that's for sure. This Advance is the most luxury-oriented version as well, so I'd really only expect this to be pretty much the quietest cabin that you can get in the MDX lineup, despite that reading being a little bit louder because of the rain. Now, as far as the ride quality, like I just mentioned, the Advance is very luxury oriented. So when it comes to ride, this thing rides phenomenally. The MDX has always done a good job with that. It continues. As you hit bumps in the road, it does a great job of just soaking them up. This one on the outside only has 20-inch alloys, so it's not the biggest wheel that you can get, and because of that, it does a really great job. I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised. These seats are super comfortable as well. I do want to point out, though, if you get the Type S variant, you'll get an air suspension. So that air suspension also provides really good ride quality, but this is definitely good for most people.
Yeah, I would say it's not a huge difference, which is a testament to how good they've tuned this standard suspension, but the air ride does give you some height adjustability as well, if that's something you're looking for.
All right, so let's talk about our airball and slam dunk, which is our least favorite and favorite element. Drew, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with the slam dunk?
So for the slam dunk with this model, we're going to say it's the advanced trim. This is the first time we actually have done a dedicated test of the advanced trim since the refresh model, and I have to say this trim might be the way to go. This seems like you have pretty much every single feature packed into this, and gives you that kind of more middle ground price tag. The Type S can be really expensive, but you have pretty much the whole interior package minus the super high-end audio system right here inside of this.
Yeah, and I like the body color moldings on the outside as well. Now on the airball side of things, what we're going to say is just those 2026 changes specific to this review. Acura didn't really change much when it came to this model at all. Really, it was just adding a couple different color changes and then kind of removing some of your options when it comes to the interior, which is honestly something that bothers me anyway. If I want a white exterior vehicle, it doesn't really mean that I don't want a brown interior, for example. So I wish Acura would give you all the options like the German rivals do give you. Now let's talk about pricing for the 26 MDX. Now, prices always change year to year, and for the 26 model year, Acura is raising the price $600 across trim levels. I appreciate that it's just across the board $600 more expensive. That means the base model is $51,800. There are a lot of trim levels. You can see those all on the screen right now. You end at the Type S, that's $75,850 as a starting point. Now, if you want one like this, we have the 2026 MDX Advance model. That starts at $66,900 this year. We have the optional white paint, $1,350 destination. All in, we're sitting at $68,850 as tested today. Now, if you're looking to buy an Acura MDX or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. We even have a monthly payment tool, so if you'd like to check all of that out, you can find that in our video description, as well as at the pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's go ahead and talk about resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Acura MDX's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 49.95% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 21.04%. Now, it's worth noting for a luxury brand that is one of the very best resale value percentages. That's right at the industry average for all vehicle brands, not just luxury brands, and it's certainly going to be higher than some other rivals such as Mercedes, BMW, and Cadillac.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies on reliability from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Acura is rated above the overall industry average for all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability information, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, when it comes to your warranty on the MDX, you do have a, once again, very good one for a luxury brand. It's going to be a 4-year, 50,000-mile basic warranty, a 6-year, 70,000-mile powertrain warranty. You do also get complimentary maintenance for 1 year and 12,000 miles. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2026 Acura MDX. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. On this channel, we try and cover the latest cars on the market, including model year to model year changes, so you can know which version you should buy. So if you appreciate that, subscribe down below. And if you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. You make this all possible. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.